The three big mistakes that beginners tend to make. Welcome to Be Yog, Be Your Own Guide. If you're new to this channel, my name is Shubhali. I work at the intersection of coaching, therapeutic modalities, and spirituality as an inner work guide. Watch this video till the end if you're a beginner in the meditation space. And I'm going to share the three big mistakes that most beginners fall into somehow or the other, and what to do instead. I have been meditating for over a decade now, since 2016. And from my experience, here's what I've learned from my experience and from, having conversations with a lot many others who try meditation and then they feel like this doesn't work for them or they struggle in other ways. The first one is most beginners fall into the trap of thinking that meditation means no thoughts. And when they don't reach a space of no thoughts, they think nothing is happening, that they're doing something wrong, or they don't know how to. Then they start spiraling into how this doesn't work for them. Meditation is not no thoughts. A meditative state, yes, is a place where you reach, which will have thoughtlessness, but it's a very different sort of thoughtlessness. It's something that probably you, me, most people will not be able to conceptualize, because the space of thoughtlessness is a non-conceptual space, and humans, the cognition, the mind works through concepts. Yeah. So the meditative state, you fall into a meditative state. You don't create a meditative state, you fall into a meditative state when all cause and conditions are met. What are these cause and conditions? You're practicing the different techniques. So meditation, when we sit for practice, the practice is not about having no thoughts. The practice is, how do I work with the thoughts? Because thoughts will come and go. That's the nature of the mind. Very important to understand for a beginner. The nature of the mind is to constantly think. If you think that you don't have thoughts at any given moment, then you're most likely you're just not aware enough yet. Or you're a Buddha, if you were, you would not be here. Yeah. So number one, meditation, when we sit for practice, the meditation practice doesn't mean there will be no thoughts. And that should not be your aim, to have no thoughts. Number two, the second big trap that most beginners tend to fall into would be, they'll sit for meditation and then they'll sit and then they'll sit and then they'll sit and then they'll say nothing is happening. Because it's almost as if there is this expectation that when I sit and meditate, something should happen, something wonderful, amazing, awesome should happen. Hmm? Again, meditation is not about making something wonderful, awesome happen. A lot of beginners will also fall into the trap of, oh, this was a really great meditation. You felt really great. The meditation was just the meditation. The meditation practice is for you, is teaching you to ground in yourself, to stay calm and composed in yourself. And you may not experience it at every moment, and that's okay. That's the journey. And we all have to walk that path. Hmm? The meditation practice is supposed to build awareness, build clarity slowly and gradually as you practice. But the second mistake that most beginners will make, the trap that they fall in, is thinking it should happen right now, it should happen immediately. And if it doesn't happen immediately, again, they go back into thinking, oh, this is not for me, this doesn't work for me, I can't meditate, meditation doesn't work for me. Well, it won't work for you. It can't work for you if you actually don't practice. Like everything else in life, meditation is also about practice. The more you practice, the better you get. And what is this better in meditation? It is building the quality, the skill of equanimity, of being able to be as is and being okay with what is. It is what it is, and whatever is okay. And this sense of equanimity doesn't come from a begrudging sense of, oh, I can't help it, now what to do, so it's okay. That's not the equanimity that I'm talking about. That's not what equanimity is. Equanimity comes from this great deep sense of, I am okay in this moment, as I am, how I am, with what is, as is. It's okay. We're okay. And how do you reach that space? Practice. Again, practice, practice, practice. The third big trap that meditators, beginners fall into is sort of similar to the second, which is comparing your experiences with other people's experiences. And funnily enough, most beginners will compare their experiences with other beginners. The other beginners themselves are into one of these traps or some other trap. So a bonus trap is wanting great good feelings. And so the moment you experience a good feeling, you will go and tell others, oh, I had such a great brilliant experience in my meditation. That's another trap. And so, and that's a fourth bonus trap for you, by the way. But the third big trap is comparing your experience with another person's experience. Experience is an experience. It's like, imagine you eat something sweet, you experience sweetness. You eat something salty, you experience saltiness. Do you become sweet forever? Do you become salt forever? You don't. You experience it. As long as the experience lasts, you experience it, then it goes away. And then you experience something else, and then you experience it, and then it goes away. That's just how experiences are. And so when we are sitting in the meditative practice, there are different experiences that we'll have. The experience comes, attaching to that experience is the opposite of what the meditative journey or the meditative state is ideally wants to take you to. The meditative journey wants to take you to a place where there are no more grasping attachments, no more pushing away aversion. You can be with whatever is. And that's, in my understanding, that is the most important quality for anybody to have a meaningful, happy life. And this doesn't mean that you don't grow, you don't develop. No, absolutely, you do. But you don't do it as if there's fire under you. You do it with fire in you, not under you. You understand that? So it's important. This is in my understanding, this is one of the most important skills. If someone were to come to me and ask me what is one thing that I should work on, I would say equanimity, building equanimity. Okay, so those are the three big traps that most beginners will fall into. One, thinking that they should have absolutely thoughtlessness during meditation. Second, thinking that it should happen right away. And third, comparing their experiences with other people, other meditators' experiences. Now, what do you do instead? This, again, this is, yes, my experience, my understanding, but this is a very informed opinion or understanding that I have. Number one, I truly believe you have to learn from somebody. When I started my meditation journey in 2016, I started it with a 10-day silent meditation course in Goenka, in the Vipassana SN Goenka tradition. Okay. Now, those 10 days of silence, of instructions from the teacher directly, I cannot even begin to tell you how immensely helpful that was. And it's not like once you've learned, now you've learned. I do retreats every single year. I do self-led retreats, I do teacher-led retreats, I ask teachers questions even now because it's a journey and somebody is always a few steps ahead of you. They've traveled a few steps ahead of you and so they know a little bit more. Or they may be able to guide you, look back and help you and say, oh, when I took that path, that happened. Oh, you seem to be on that path. Okay, let's see what happens in your path. So some support form of guidance, in my understanding, there is no alternative to, at least in the beginning when you're setting your foundation, to learn from somebody. Very, very important. And it doesn't matter where you learn from, but you learn from somebody, ideally a reliable source, but learn from somebody. I think that is my number one tip. Number two, a lot of kindness and patience and grace for yourself. When you sit down to meditate, even if you've, formed a strong determination that, okay, today I will sit and I will only observe my breath. And you observe your breath, and then the mind starts going away, and then it goes going away, and then it goes away, and then comes back after I don't know how much time. At times it'll come back after like 10, 15, 20 minutes. At times it'll come back immediately. But this going away, when the mind goes away and you realize it's gone away, with a lot of grace and patience and gentleness, bringing it back. Ah, you've gone away again. Come back. Let's come back to the breath. With a lot of grace, with a lot of gentleness. So, a lot of patience, kindness, grace for yourself is extremely important on this journey. This is a lifelong, if not lives long journey. So, a lot of grace for yourself. That's my second tip. And my third tip to you would be, if you're not yet in a place to learn from somebody, that's okay. It would be to start guided meditations. Anywhere on YouTube, on this channel itself, there are two dedicated playlists, morning and evening meditations. There's going to be a 30-day, so 30 meditations for morning, for evening. You can, of course, watch them anytime, but access all of these resources that are available to you for free and start the practice. So follow guided meditations. And then the fourth tip that I have for you is listen to everybody and then experiment with what's working for you. So in SN Goenka tradition, in SN Goenka's Vipassana tradition, or actually I think in Vipassana traditions in most spaces, you sit for an hour. I think in the US they have 45-minute sessions. In India they have an hour-long session. But that's what you do. You sit for that 45-minute hour. That entire time you're sitting and meditating. For some people it works, for some it doesn't work. But just because the technique doesn't work doesn't mean meditation doesn't work. So if this technique is not working for you, if 45 minutes doesn't work for you, try 30 minutes. 30 minutes doesn't work for you, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Start with 1 minute. 1 minute, put an alarm on your phone, and just 1 minute, close your eyes and focus on the breath. Just 1 minute. And do it more often. Do it 3 times a day, 5 times a day, 10 times a day. Shorter, but more consistent. Consistency is more important than duration, at least for beginners and intermediate meditators. The other thing with what works for you is maybe closed eyes doesn't work for you. Maybe it doesn't work for you in the beginning. Maybe it'll never work for you. It doesn't matter. So for some people, when they close their eyes, they start feeling giddy or dizzy. Doesn't work for you. Doesn't work for you. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Focus on or just gazing at some place, some point, so that you can focus within. And with your eyes open again, breath. Just focusing on the breath for a minute. Yeah. So 4 simple, easy tips. 1, learn from somebody. Very, very, very crucial in my understanding, in my informed understanding. 2nd, a lot of grace and patience with yourself. 3rd, guided meditations. And 4th, experiment. Learn, watch, listen, read what others have to say, and then experiment to figure out what works best for you. And in this 4th piece of experimentation, again, if you're working with somebody, if you're using somebody's guidance, it is very helpful to help you understand, to help you sort of sift through whether it is actually something that is working for you, not working for you, or just your mind creating illusions and delusions. All right. Okay. So interesting. I started talking about illusions and delusions, and the Zoom chose to. Do you see a sort of haziness? So illusions and delusions. Some schools of thought say everything that you see is an illusion, fragmentation of the mind.